and bust it off. And it's great that we're doing it in front of you guys, you know, Michigan style. So,
yeah,
take it away, Ming.
It's a very strong and mighty state that you guys are in, and I'm glad to see you guys are. Are you having fun so far? I know it's only been about 24 hours.
No
fun.
It was weird because people would always ask me about it. And I'm like, why doesn't Jeff do these? I'm like, he hates people, but he loves gatherings. Oh, you have a mic issue?
Take that one. Chuck. Oh, yeah. That was just louder because I have a squeaky, like, woman-like Asian voice. So, yeah.
So do I.
Just a quick heads up, by the way, if you're fans of our movies, you know they're rated R. We can't control some of the questions, so if you're a parent in here with young kids and you don't want that long car ride home explaining about snowballing, shows,
Right, come on, Eileen.
right, or hideous effing chuds.
And that's just our morning.
Right, so you may want to escort them out and bring them over to the pop booth or something like that, because otherwise in a few minutes you're going to be shit out of fucking luck.
Was that from you, Princess Leia? Did you say ask them out?
No, see, that's what I mean. So we have a family leaving now. Thank you, I'm so sorry. We can take your questions personally after the kids go to bed. So it's just, you know, it's called good parenting, so.
It is, but you learn early.
Yeah, well, I always do that warning because there was a con where they actually went on their Facebook page and went, I can't believe you had that foul-mouthed man up on the thing. And I was like, Mom?
So I don't know when you came in here. It's like, why does it smell like Kevin Smith in here?
Yeah.
It's always been like that since year one.
I told them, if you have any knee or back issues, give it an hour, you'll be fine. Glaucoma issues, clear up.
This is the best I ever felt. I'm loose. Wow.
I know, pain-free, that like weird like high school injury is gone. Just watch out. I know, you know, they work on a weird barter system here. One time this kid came up to me, he was like, hey man, I don't have any money, I really want your autograph. Will you trade me your autograph for 2 joints?
Done.
I know, done. What a fair price. He didn't even start at 1 joint or a half a smoked joint.
I would have followed him home.
Dude, that sounded like the Sublime song, Smoke 2 joints in the morning. Got Ming Chen's autograph. You know.
So yeah, he was like, hold on, he went to the bathroom, he rolled 2 joints, and we did the deal. And,
bathroom rolled joints?
Yes.
Ew. Have a standard, sir.
Obviously, I have no standard.
Fucking
rolled in toilet paper.
No wonder you're getting coronavirus over there. Oh, what? Too soon? Too soon? Really? I warned you people, this shit gets crazy.
It figures the first time I come out, there's a fucking virus.
I blame you, Randall.
Patient X.
Patient Ming. All right, we can open this up to folks unless you have a couple of softballs you want to throw at us.
No, not really. I was just trying. I remember I haven't seen you in a while. I think the last time I saw you was Zack and Miri premiere, October 2008. We were after the after party had wrapped up. We'd still been hanging around. I remember you were wearing an Obama shirt, I think, and we were talking about how great the Denver Broncos season was going to be. And I don't know.
Go Broncos!
Yeah, I don't know how it wound up that season, but
probably not good.
Yeah, it's good to see you here. I just you know, we're all pop culture fans, and you know, Kevin's kind of built this whole world, and I'm glad you're back in with it, man. It's,
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no Avengers without Captain America or Iron Man.
I have to say, Astronomicon was a good start to this. I have like 6, 7, 8 more of these booked, and you guys have really been kind, and you haven't scared me away. Thank you.
I don't know if he's going to measure up, man. The other one's going to measure up. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it's definitely a good bar to set. But we'll see. We'll go on to it, and who knows where we go from there.
Yeah, and then the last time we were here, we went to a Van Halen tribute concert.
Oh, dude, there was a Van Halen tribute band out of Cleveland called Panama. And swear to fucking God, like literally a year and a half earlier, I saw the tour with David Lee Roth in Jersey, in Camden actually, and it was okay. But this cover band was awesome. I don't know if you've seen David Lee Roth with Van Halen in the last tour. Like, lyrics of the songs and him weren't really there. And I was literally in the audience, and it's like,
the lyrics are simple. It's jump. Might as well jump. Go ahead, jump.
And it was an outdoor venue, and so they had a state helicopter just making sure that there's no fucking around at this outdoor venue. And that one time in between songs, it was dead silent, and I was like, Sammy Hagar, save us if you're up there! Because he was doing this like, skitty ba boo ba, and I was just like, who the, it's fucking Van Halen, dude. Leave that shit for your crazy skitty ba boo ba bullshit. I get that, but I paid my fucking $75 to hear fucking Panama. So anyway, this cover band, Panama, is fucking awesome. They're going to be in town, but for Valentine's weekend, not this weekend. But
come back.
No.
All right. Well,
I'm in Mississippi next weekend, man. I got some crawdads to eat.
Yeah, the moral of that story is we got drunk in an Irish bar and somehow we made it back.
Dude, those are a dime a dozen. The drunken Irishman and a drunken Irishman walks into the bar, and it's called Tuesday.
So I think
I thought we were being escorted out. She's like, I'm up here to complain.
Who's got the mic?
I'm out here.
Right? Oh,
I'm out here.
He's right there.
There's the body voice.
There you go.
Anybody got questions?
Yeah, raise your hand.
I know there's tons of. I see one.
Get in the
hand.
middle. Get in the middle.
Yeah, I gotta run, dude.
There you go.
Pass it down.
Hey, I'm just stand up. Stand up.
Hey, long-time fan. You guys are awesome.
Right on.
I just wanted to ask, Clerks 3 when?
Oh, that's a Kevin question.
Can we get him on the phone?
No, I'm not your fucking mom. No, he's on tour with the new Jay and Silent Bob reboot. Any of the reboot? I think he was currently in the state of Maine last night. He's going through all of the state of New York and Connecticut this week, I believe. So once he's done with the tour in February, I think that's when he'll roll up a big fat E and fucking start typing that up. There's also a rumor of a Mallrats too, so we'll see. So trust me, once we know, which is usually through the internet, am I right, Jeff? Yeah. Once we know.
Kevin doesn't tell anybody.
Yeah, that's when we get. That's when we get it.
It's taken a while for him to write the script because he writes it on rolling paper.
What did I do at page 22? Oh fuck! I smoked page 22.
I imagine he's been working really quick lately, though, and death has been a pretty good motivator, I guess. So,
wow, this went dark pretty fucking quickly. Well, he owns Tide and shit, and that changes your life sometimes.
Yeah, you accelerate your timetable.
Oh, I get it.
I was just wondering, for both of you, what's your favorite thing about Kevin as a director?
Jeff?
He's really laid back. I am not an actor, and I know, surprise. He really takes his time with me, and he's just chill. The whole set is chill. It's we do a scene, we have our dialogue, and then you hear him way off in the back screaming out shit to say, try this, try this. Everything has fuck in it, and it's just a lot of fun working with him.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. It's not every day that you get to show up at work and your boss says, all right, this is what I want you to do. I want you to sit on that swing. My wife is going to straddle you. You're guys going to make out while I film you. Go.
And that's called Thursday night.
Right, exactly. And then the next night it's like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. This donkey, we're going to have a guy blow a donkey in front of you. We're going to just film your reactions. Go. Literally for Clerks 2 is the most fun I've ever been on a set. Because every day it was a different thing. Today we're doing a donkey show. Tonight we're doing, go-karts. And the next day we're doing a big dance routine on the roof. And the next thing is you're making out with my wife. And then we're going to finish up with you making out with Rosario Dawson. I'm like, and I'm getting paid? That's awesome. So it's always chill. Working even on the new reboot, we shot it down in New Orleans, which... if you're going to fucking do a party movie, that's the place to do it. And it was during not only Mardi Gras, but the month of March, so it was St. Patrick's Day as well. So that's like gasoline on a tire fire. In New Orleans. So, and it was weird because they built the entire storefront in New Orleans, and I was just like, what? And so me and Kevin, for the first 20 minutes of that morning, like, I can't believe how fucking crazy this looks. And so it's fun, and I can't wait to work with them again. Thank you for the question.
The original Clerks was filmed in the actual RST Video Quick Stop store out of necessity. How weird is it going to be when you guys have to step back into the store, but this time it's a sound stage somewhere, potentially?
I don't know. We don't know that yet. Kevin would like to shoot it in the store again. I know the owners are still the original owners from even when we shot it back in '93.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, exactly. Wow.
Store actually doesn't make money. They just charge Kevin millions.
That's why we make none. And so, yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. That's still a point to be figured out.
Do you guys got like a favorite scene or dialogue that you guys like to share?
Jeff?
My favorite scene was always in the original Clerks ordering the porno movies. I knew at some time, we were filming that, we never thought anybody was going to see it, but I knew at some point my mother was going to watch this thing. And I remember before we started, it was in the script, and I'm going, Kev, can we dial back some of the names of these things? And he took the piece of paper and he said, yeah, let me cross some of these names off. We set up the camera and everything else. He said, are you ready to go? We actually had them written down. He handed the paper back to me and there were 5 new titles.
As far as me, favorite lines and stuff like that, one of the ones I like to write, and it's usually for female guests, is try not to suck any dick on the way through the phone. I really feel bad because Marilyn Gigliotti, who played Veronica, I mean, she gets that request a lot. Or some fans will just see us walking through the hotel or the parking lot and say, hey, try not to suck any dick on the way through the parking lot. Now, if you're not a fan or aware of anything at all about the Venus universe, and you see this happen, what did you just say to that young lady? You apologize. I am so sorry. Who raised you? And she's just like, don't worry about it. So that's the one, like, I always feel like weird, like, I feel bad for her. Because the people like, do you get sick of hearing you're not even supposed to be here today? And it could be worse. It could be Veronica.
37
in a row, you get that as well. Who else had a hand up? Run around, man. Earn your keep with that mic.
I've had this discussion with all of my friends that have seen Clerks, and sadly that's not all of my friends. At what point in the original movie do you guys feel the story just completely jumps the rails into insanity?
Of which movie?
Of the first Clerks. For me, it's when you get pelted by cigarettes, because at that point, all immersion's broken. It's just, this is nonsense and magical, and I want to live here.
You've obviously never worked at a convenience store in New Jersey.
I work in a
that's a Friday
third shift. It's about the same, shockingly enough.
I don't find when it got off the rails for.
I think I was okay until Caitlin fucked a dead guy.
Yeah, I would agree with him on that one. That's a little like really.
Yeah.
Because I got to hear something from somebody if that's going to happen. Thanks for the bizarre question.
But again, that's like a Saturday in Jersey at a convenience store. So
Yeah. Right.
This one's for Jeff. Hey, Jeff. One of my favorite scenes from Clerks 2 is the Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings debate. Was that completely ad-libbed, or was that actually scripted?
It was scripted. The basis of it was scripted, and as we were doing it, we were kind of making shit up. I think, what was it? They're not gay, they're hobbits. That one just kind of happened.
Love that.
I always get that to ask me of a fan, so what do you think? Trilogy Star Wars and trilogy. I'm like, it's all fucking fantasy, dude, when you think about it. Like, there's the people who are like, Star Wars or Star Trek? I'm like, I don't know. It's not real.
Fuck that Star Wars.
I enjoy it all. I lived on both. Who else? Where are we at?
This man right here.
Oh, here we go. Sorry.
I know that you guys did a charity reading of Clerks 3.
That's right.
Kevin had his heart attack, and then he's like, I'm going to rewrite it and completely revise it. But that original version of Clerks 3 that is not going to be made he said himself that it was very dark. What was your guys' takes on it? Was it dark? Was it funny? Was it...
Well, when it was first written, which was about 6 years or 7 years ago, there was a lot of things going on in the country that was dark in general, which I think influenced his writing. And so the first iteration of that script was kind of dark, but what was kind of fun Even Jeff and I had discussed this on the phone. It's like, I don't know about this scene with blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know either. And then when the production company that was being involved and things got kind of haywire, and then we decided to not be a part of it anymore.
When I got kind of haywire.
That script just sat and stuff. And just that darkness just stayed with it. And then when Kevin had his heart attack and stuff, and then saw a different kind of light in front of him in a tunnel, and we were like, don't go into the light!
It's not your time.
He came out with a better idea of what he wanted to do with it, and he gave us a treatment as to what he wants to do with the new script. So that script just sat there for years. And then the original theater a playhouse that we had all auditioned at in Atlantic Highlands, which is still in operation today, called the First Avenue Playhouse. They've been looking to update their lights and their sound and everything. It's been there for over 30 years, this theater. So Kevin decided, hey, I'm going to do one for the town and offer 2 readings of 100 seats each of us doing a table read of that script. So it was me, Kevin, Brian Johnson, Ernie O'Donnell, my girlfriend Diana Devlin, and then Kim Loughran as well, and then Marilyn Gigliotti came in from LA. And we did 2 readings of it, and it was really dark. And what was funny was, if people who've seen Jay and Silent Bob reboot, there's about 5 or 6 things that were part of the Clerks 3 script that made it into the reboot. Not for spoilers, but when there's that twist at the Chronicon that happens with one of the characters, that was kind of built into what the Clerks, there was something that was going to happen at a Clerks 3 script that was kind of similar in nature. And so that's where the darkness was. Plus, us as characters had their lives turned in a very dark way. We became the Joker and Harley Quinn. No, everybody got so quiet. I was like, I have to get on. So that script hopefully will get done in either a graphic novel form, or maybe he'll do an animated version of it. Or we're talking about maybe taking that script reading and taking it to different cities to raise more money for that theater. But that was talked out in a very foggy haze and a post-show, like, this was awesome, let's take it on the road. Meanwhile, we still had another film to make, so. But thank you for the question.
Jeff, you just said when you went haywire, and I know to a lot of people out here and to the public at large it looked that way, but even now, Kevin has been saying you are more integral to the integrity of these characters in this story than maybe you realize, because you wanted to make sure the fans were never disappointed in what you were presenting. And I think we need a round of applause, because without this man, he might have put both these guys in walrus suits, and we don't need that.
You like the Walrus movie?
I love the walrus movie, but it's not Clerks.
That's why it's not Clerks. It's Tusk.
I can't believe I just got a round of applause for not doing the movie.
I told them to take it easy on you, Jeff.
And they are.
Who else has the mic? Who's got it?
My question is about Clerks animated series. When you were recording that, did you record it in studio all together? And if so, do you have any interesting stories about non-Clerks guest stars or something that were just blown away by the content that you were recording?
Okay. So
I don't remember it.
Jeff and most of the guys already lived in California. I was still living in the New York area, so they flew me out and put me up at a hotel and stuff. Jay was literally still in rehab, and we got him out of rehab and we put him in a hotel to be part of the recording. So every week, Dave Mandel, who was the showrunner of Veep, and he was also a writer for SNL, and he was also a producer for Seinfeld. He was the co-creator with Kevin for the Clerks Animated and head writer. And so every week we'd have a table read on Monday, an adjustment for Tuesday, another read on Wednesday, and then we'd start recording Thursday and Friday. And that's how it would go for like the first 2 weeks. Then we had a bit of a setback with the studio was like, we're having issues with these scripts. And then they flew me back and then flew me back again, and then we finished them. We made 6, thinking that we were going to have them all air, and then it's going to be a huge hit, and then we're going to move on away. As far as the guest stars question, we recorded our dialogue together. We were always in the studio together, and then the guest stars would come in later on. Yeah. We never had interactions with the guest stars, but some of the guest stars were just super awesome, like Mario Joyner and Michael McKean and tons of people.
One of the things that always killed me about people coming in, we had Michael Buffer came on. If you don't know him, he was the announcer for boxing matches for many years.
Let's get ready to rumble, guy.
Yeah.
He came in there, and I went out in the waiting room, and he was wearing a tux. I was like, you do know this isn't a fight, right?
And it's recording your voice. No one's seeing you. But it was really cool that, this was during a time, per episode, it was $250,000 per episode, which was an insane budget for an animated series. Like, people were always saying, do it like South Park. And South Park, I think, was like 50 to 100,000 at max for everything. But it was also computer and hand emotion and stuff like that at the time. Computer animation wasn't really at its peak back in 2000. So it got a little expensive. Nowadays, it would be real simple to do. Folks are doing phenomenal fucking animation just out of their own home computers these days. And so I think now if we came back to it, it'd be awesome. I know that there is a showrunner now that has 2 incredibly successful shows on ABC Network. And since ABC has the actual rights to do the cartoon, he's in talks with Kevin about doing it again. And that's something like somewhere like a 2022 thing that we would get that started if we go. So if we do a Clerks 3 and that goes really well and you guys come out in force and give us fucking endgame kind of numbers.
Yeah, it's very simple.
That's not hard to ask.
No, not at all.
You can watch fucking Tony Stark go like this 10 times. You can watch us at least 4. That'd be enough to push us over. Oh, spoiler alert with the whole Tony Stark thing.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, nerds.
For those who didn't see it. But yeah, we would love to come back to that. I think that's a great thing. To be honest with you, him standing in front of you is a huge sign and a great start and first start. Being on the road all these years and meeting fans and not having Jeff and not having a Randall to bounce off of has always been great. People always go hey man, do you guys live near each other? I'm like, no, we come out when the movies are done. Between the first movie and the second movie was 7 or 9 years since we had been interacting, and we came in and Kevin had booked a whole month of rehearsals for Clerk 2, and they flew me out to LA and put me up in this apartment and stuff, and we just did 2 days of rehearsals, and Kevin's like, fuck, you guys are it, you're done. Because the back and forth is just so natural, which is so awesome.
Could you and Jeff talk about the Clerks 2 jail scene where you both got all your issues out on the table yet again?
That's all him. You start that one.
I thought that was Jeff's finest moment.
Absolutely. Round of applause for that.
Yeah.
That was something with me not being an actor. When I read that in the script, I was scared to death. And we did rehearsals for it, and we never rehearsed that scene. I told Kevin, you're going to get emotion from me once. We cannot keep doing this scene. So when I think we rehearsed it actually once with the cameras, and then we rolled on it.
Yeah.
Scary moment for me, scary.
But for me, completely heartfelt. We needed more time after the word cut than we were on. So I was like, I need a minute. That was beautiful, man. And it was one of the, yeah. And it literally was, I think, the last day or second to last thing we shot was that.
That was actually the last night. That was my last night.
Right,
I think
it was.
We still have more to shoot, but that was my last night.
Yeah. So it was kind of emotional in that way too, like we were wrapping it up. So it was a good, month or so of shooting, and all that tiredness and worked into both characters, and it was a great way to end it too. And I know you and Kev collabed on how that should have went, which was great. So
this one's for Jeff. What was it like filming?
Who am I looking at? Stand up. Where are you?
All right,
there you go.
All right, keep going.
What was it like recording all the scenes with Porch Monkey in it?
And more importantly, are you
Just
ready to
another
get
day?
canceled? Are you ready for them to cancel you over that? I'm joking, of course.
Well, what's really funny is when we have a lot of African American fans that come up, and they always come up, and there's always one African American fan who's like, "Yo, man, that Porch Monkey scene." I'm like, "Here it goes. I'm getting punched in the face." And then they go, "Oh man, that shit is so funny, man." By the way, that's my African American impersonation. I know I'm going to be blasted because I'm like, "What's with the deep voice?" I'm like, because I'm scared that I'm not doing it right.
It's so accurate.
No, it's true. But yeah, I always love it and stuff like that. I see people walking around with that movie shirt with "They done the tape" as well, and I'm like, you're a brave motherfucker with that one. Because I know you ain't walking downtown in Detroit with that shit on. Just saying. Next question.
Yeah, this is a question about in the first Clerks, when you go into the funeral and you eventually find out that the casket gets knocked over. Did you have any idea when they were to make the lost scene, like all the other events that went down? Were you informed of any of that beforehand?
I know they actually approached Paulson's funeral parlor, the actual funeral parlor, and talked to the owner of it about doing that. And they were like, well, we don't know. This is a place of mourning and sacristy and blah, blah, blah. Let's read the script. And I think they read it and like, absolutely not. So it was one of the early mornings before we had one of the very few outside daylight shots, like the hockey on the roof and stuff scene. And it was super cold that morning. And I remember us joining, going, all right, this is what we're gonna do. So there it is down the block. We're gonna pull up. You guys, we're gonna jump out of the car with the camera. You guys are gonna get out, do that line, walk up, and then we're gonna just have him move around and then just run right at us. And I think we just did one take. Because we literally saw someone in the upstairs, I think you could kind of see it in the film, like move the curtain, like what's going on? And then there's the scene where the family comes out and they're like, oh, you're son of a... And our friend Ed, who's the hockey guy, is like, hey, can I get a free Gatorade in the Devils jersey? We put him in a skirt and a woman's jacket and with his long hair from behind, he looked like a woman like this, but it's Ed, the dude who played hockey on the roof with us. So I can imagine, okay, blah, 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 whatever the owner of Holston's funeral parlor is going on, but then they go, what's with the dude in the dress? So, there you go.
Yeah, it's a lesson for any kids out there or filmmakers. Don't ask for permission. Just shoot it.
Well, that's the thing about LA. Everybody is so self-aware about if they see a camera, like, oh, where's your permit? You were shooting my lawn. That's $4,000. While everywhere else in the world, they're like, oh, yeah, shoot whatever you want. But I'm glad we got to animate it with the guys from Powerhouse Studios to animate the lost scene for the 10-year anniversary thing, which was great, because then we got Joey Lauren Adams back to do the voiceover of her character. My girlfriend played the voice of the mother who gets all upset, and it was good to go in the studio, and it was during the recording of that audio for the 10-year anniversary of the DVD that Kevin approached us both to go, hey man, I want to do a Clerks 2. So it was kind of like a bonus moment for us as well. So, questions?
Right over here. He's got a nice hat, sir. Nice hat.
So one of the things that I always liked was the flying car, short. Just any information about how that came about or stories involving that.
Are you from the Ford Motor Company, sir? I know we're in Detroit. The flying car. That was fun.
I don't remember it.
You guys was in a parking lot in New Jersey somewhere?
Yeah, it was a parking lot of a church, like a Baptist church or something like that. And with the woods behind us, and you got all the crew to put their cars behind us, it looked like a typical summer afternoon going down to the Jersey Shore on the Garden State Parkway where it's bumper to fucking bumper traffic. So it was a good setup for Kevin to do that script. And if anybody doesn't know the flying car sketch, it's a bonus on the extras of the DVDs of Clerks and I think the Clerks X one. Kevin was commissioned by the Ford Motor Company to write an inspirational video film to inspire their design teams and everybody at Ford to think above what normal car making is. So Kevin wrote this sketch about Dante and Randall stuck in traffic, and Randall's like, how come we don't have the flying car yet? And then I was like, what do you mean? And then he goes on this whole tirade about what would you do for the flying car, one being, would I be anally raped by a German scientist? I believe?
That is correct.
And then would I cut my ankle, foot off at the ankle for it? Would he diddle your peenie? I think was one of the phrases.
You said peenie.
Yeah. So you can imagine just reading that and you're the Ford Motor Company, that you're going to show your entire design team at their yearly retreat up here to inspire everybody. And they were like, yeah, no, I'm so sorry. We thought you were M. Night Shyamalan. I'm sorry. You know, so he didn't want to get rid of the script, so he still wanted to make the short. It was made very cheaply. And he then was doing these shorts for Jay Leno at the time, who was still on The Tonight Show. And he offered it to Jay. He's like, hey man, can I show this short? Which I think is like 5 or 6 minutes at most. And he's like, yeah, whatever you want to do, Kev, I'm cool with it.
Cars, I like cars.
That was my African-American impersonation. No. So it was that moment that Jay Leno said yes, and we were on The Tonight Show, technically.
I'm a fan of anything Kevin puts in the car. We had sucking your own dick, getting your own mother pregnant,
yeah,
and then diddling your peenie.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the car scenes.
Yeah. Me driving around looking for Rosario Dawson and seeing Kevin's daughter in the window, very emotional moment. It's a good car scene.
More car scenes in Clerks 3.
Becky's character tearing off in her Mustang.
Yes.
That's another good car scene.
Yes, you pulling up to the quick stop,
Yeah.
on fire.
I think we just found the next Furious. Fast
Oh yeah,
and
the
Furious.
franchise, man.
They might as well be facing the Avengers next.
Oh, they're so mean.
Clerks and Furious.
Yeah, Clerks and Furious Clerks. It's just Randall. I'm so furious.
You know how you make that more successful? You bring the Asian character back. That's
He's already in the new one.
I know, that's right. You need a Han in the franchise. That's all I'm saying. Anybody else?
Any more word on Vulgar 2 and
All right, there we go. So, anybody seen the movie Vulgar?
Yes.
All right, right on. So the rest who didn't, you obviously have well-adjusted lives. Okay. It was a movie written and directed by Brian Johnson. Any fans of the Comic Book Men series? Tell 'em Steve did podcast. So Brian Johnson, who really is the real live inspiration of Randall for Kevin, wrote this film called Vulgar. So you know the animation series that happens in the very beginning of Clerks? This clown comes home from work in a clown outfit, goes behind a dressing screen, and then changes into this kind of weird bustier, fishnet stockings kind of clown. Kevin made that his logo of his company early on. And so Brian Johnson was sitting in Kevin's office going like, hey man, what do you think that guy's story is? And he was like, I don't know, why don't you write a story about it? And that's what this story, Vulgar, was about. So it's about this guy who's a party clown for kids, not making enough money, decides to become a party clown for adults, and his first gig goes horribly wrong. If you're looking to see it, I have the unrated version DVDs at my table if you want to buy it. It's very fucking disturbing. It's not a first date film. It's not the after Thanksgiving feast where the tryptophan kicking in, hey kids, come on and let's just sit on the couch. It's not a feel-good movie. It's a very dark, dark comedy. So there's that film that we did in, I think, we filmed it in 98, but by the time it came out, I think it was 2000. And so Brian Johnson recently was talking about doing a sequel to it. Now, about 3 or 4 years ago, he came up with an idea for a sequel with it, and it was going on. And then he just didn't quite like where it was going, scrapped that first